welcome. I'm Lynn of Lynn X Stitches Creates, and welcome to my floss tube about kind of cross stitch and the project bags I make. It is Tuesday, October 25th. 2 months until Christmas. That's my season. I know everybody, so many people like Halloween. Christmas is my thing. So 2 months till Christmas. And yes, I have started shopping. I think I've gotten one thing. Yep, I think one thing. So, hey, it's better than nothing. This is episode number 58. Welcome back to my returning subscribers. Thank you so much for coming back. It's going to be a long one, I think. I've got a lot to share with you. I've been traveling for 10 days, just got back this afternoon. So yeah, get some popcorn, get a drink, and settle on in. And if you're new, thank you for joining me. I know I've had a lot of new subscribers, thanks to Athena, Stitching Goddess Designs, and her Halloween videos and the giveaway that she did with one of my bags. And I'm glad that, you know, it was so well received. It was such a fun pattern. I loved the steampunk Halloween. And if you like that, be watching in another couple of weeks, because the mystery bags for December, that's all I'm gonna say. And of course too, with Stitch West that I was just at, that I'm gonna talk about, I met a lot of new people, and I got to see some people that have been on my comments for my floss tube and on my Instagram account that I talk to or comment on their photos all the time. And, you know, I didn't realize some of them were there until I saw their pictures. So, it was great seeing everyone. And, you know, I'm so sorry if, you know, if I didn't recognize you, you need to tell me your Instagram. I had, well, I'll tell that story when we get there. So anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you like, I hope you subscribe, do all the things. Getting up there, up to 826 as of this video. You know, I love the subscribers I have, and you know, as long as you're enjoying my videos, I'm happy to have you. And if not, you know, that's okay too. You know, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So anyway, I have lots to share, lots to show. So I did not film, let's see, it's been a couple of weeks. I did not film last week because we were traveling. I did not film the week before because I don't think I filmed the week before because I was sewing bags, project bags, to have to sell at Stitch West, which they were very well received. Thank you to everyone who bought one. I know a couple of people have messaged me since I've been traveling back home. Oh, I wish I'd gotten that one, or do you have another one of that one? So be watching Instagram. Those people I will contact directly, but be watching Instagram because there will be stuff coming up for sale. I said I was going to put them up tonight, but I'm probably going to wait till tomorrow. Just because I'm doing this and I'm tired. And my husband did most of the driving. I shouldn't even be tired, but okay. So, having said all that, I had signed up to go to Stitch West, which is hosted by Snug Harbor Crafts. Here's my shirt from it. A day spent cross-stitching is a good day in Stitch West. So Snug Harbor Crafts, Debbie and Kef, mother-daughter team. It was in Salt Lake City, Utah. So originally I was going to fly. My husband and I had planned back at the end of July, we were going to do a trip. We were going to drive out west to Yellowstone, and then on the way back from Yellowstone would be the stop for Camp Black Needle. But then, of course, in the middle of July, all the flooding happened in Yellowstone. Roads were closed. Towns couldn't be gotten to, things like that. So we canceled that trip. So then I got to thinking about it, and after I was in Germany, I said to my husband, I said, well, why don't we do it in October? I mean, hopefully it won't be snowing yet. You never know out that part of the country, but so, we kind of looked it up and looked at the weather, and nope, it looked like it was going to be good weather. So we decided we would do that. To drive to Salt Lake City from the Cincinnati area is almost a 24-hour drive if you were to drive straight through. So stopping at Yellowstone was a good thing. But that's still a long drive. My husband, besides regular plays and musicals that he's been in, he is part of a murder mystery group that's based in Cincinnati, but they go all over the place. Indiana, Kentucky, they're doing a show in Virginia this week. So he had a show Sunday the 16th in Indiana. So he went with his fellow actors, drove out to the show, and then I drove out to Indiana, picked him up, and we continued driving out west. So Sunday night we drove. I think we got to the border almost to the border of Illinois that night, stayed overnight, and then we continued driving. Kind of north of Kansas City is a town called Hamilton. It is the birthplace of J.C. Penney. And yes, the store is named after an actual person, if you did not know that. We did not go into the museum, his homestead, because the town is pretty much run, I don't know if that's the correct word, but most of the stores on the main street of Hamilton, Missouri, are run, owned and operated by the Missouri Star Quilt Company. And I had heard that this was like, quite the place to visit. And I did not realize what it really was. So we went into the main store. A lot of fabrics, some I've seen, some I haven't seen. I picked up this cute cat fabric. I'll show you the non-wrinkled side. Cute cat fabric. It will probably be the inside of a bag in the future. I'm not sure. I have a fabric I was thinking about it, but I don't like it, so we'll see where it's going to go. I really love that. So we walked into the next store. Thought, this would be cute. Let's see. Turns out the next store is full of fabric. And the next store is full of fabric. And it's different fabric. So the next store I found, and Zan, if you watch me, I don't know if you watch me, Crazy Band Lady, but Zan, I got this fabric. And then I got that fabric to go in it. So a nice little X. So I thought that was cute together. So that will probably show up at StitchCon. I haven't asked Barbara yet. Barbara, if it's okay if I have a trunk show again at StitchCon. So as long as Barbara says it's okay for me to have a trunk show at StitchCon, that will be there. So that's two. The third store, I looked and I was gonna, and then I thought, no, I won't. And then, so we put bags in the car and we walked on the other side of the street because my husband kept saying, there's like licensed stuff, meaning like you know, Muppets, Disney. They did not have Snoopy, which I think is what he was looking for. You know, all kinds of quirky things, college teams, patterns, and fabric and all that. So that's where he was trying to get me to. Well, the first store we came to was yarn. And I do knit. I haven't in a while. I've been wanting to since Janelle was teaching Athena and Melina how to knit at Camp Needle. I've been wanting to get back in, and I found this. Isn't that pretty? So I have a pattern for fingerless mitts. I might do that. But the yarn store is, let's see, Jenny Doan is the owner of Missouri Star Quilt Company, and her daughter-in-law likes to knit and crochet. So that's the yarn store. So then the next store next to that was the Petites. And I love Petites. And they had Christmas ones right in the front, and I thought about it and I didn't get them, and I'm not completely upset I didn't get them because I do have a lot of Christmas fabric, but maybe next year I'll get some. And they even had Halloween batiks that were very cool. But I got a couple of cuts that I'm hoping will go with some of the Snoopy fabric that my husband got me for Christmas last year that we still haven't cut. So, but I found this, and this, and this, which he's gonna hate to cut, but, so those were, and then we did go in, also next to the boutique store was called the Man Cave. It was basically the husband babysitting area. It was a whole store just for husband. Sorry, my daughter is texting me and it's distracting me. I may pause and answer her in just a minute. But anyway, so the Man Cave, it had reclining leather chairs, big screen TVs, a pool table, books, all kinds of stuff. And we just peeked in really quick, and he kind of looked at me. He's like, I do not need to be here. We kept going. And they had a store that was baby fabrics, which I did not go in. There was a store that was then all the licensed character things. And I looked at quite a few things, but nothing really jumped out at me. There was a lot of fun stuff, but at least I know where to find it all now. And then they had another store connected to that, and my understanding there was an upstairs area too. And by that point, I was tired and hangry, and I just looked at him. I said, "We need to go." It was too much. I think I was just getting overwhelmed. I was hungry, and so I had run through the other store, which was basically just like solids and things like that. You know, everything. You know, that town is everything and anything a quilter would need. It was really something. So if you haven't been and you're a quilter, it's definitely a day trip that you want to take. I would not try to do it as quickly. I can do it pretty quickly because I know what I like, and I'm able to kind of pick things. But it was fun. It was fun. And there was besides JCPenney's house there, his birthplace, there was the Aurifil giant, world's largest spool of thread. And I took a picture with the spool of thread. and it really did have thread on it. I think they said there's 1,000,000 yards on it. I'll have to see. I think the pamphlet we had on it is in the car, and my husband's at rehearsal, so but they said that people visiting could add to the Aurifil spool of thread. And I told Athena, I said, no, I did not add to it because I did not have thread with me and my floss. There's no way I'm giving up my floss. So that was that. But it was fun. And there was a limo. It was like an SUV limo that was covered, I guess, like decoupaged in fabric, and the wheels had these wooden pieces over the hubcaps so it made it look like buttons. And then that sat out by the world's largest spool of floss and the quilt museum. So there's a quilt museum there. So we did see a house for sale in that town. The town is very cute. The price for the house was quite the price. So, you know, we're not moving from here anytime soon. That would be very dangerous. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a second to answer my daughter, and I'll be right back. So from Missouri Star Quilt, we continued on. We stopped overnight in, let's see, we got to stop and see Dignity of Earth and Sky statue. Was, even though we stopped at night, because, you know, that's when we got there, which was in South Dakota, still pretty amazing. And I'll have pictures, I'll put them in here rather than at the end. And we stayed overnight in South Dakota, continued on, got to Yellowstone. We got to the gate of Yellowstone, about the East Gate, no, I'm saying that wrong. We went to, first we went to the Devil's Tower, which the Native Americans call it Bear Lodge. If you've watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which honestly, I've never seen the movie either, if you haven't, but big alien space movie. I've got to find it and watch it because I've been to Devil's Tower twice now, but my husband loves it. And the first time we went to Devil's Tower 5 years ago, we got there really late at night. It was like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, so we really couldn't walk around, and a storm was coming in, which made it really creepy. So if you watch Close Encounters, you really understand. So he wanted to go back and actually walk around it, because there's a trail that goes around the bottom of it, and at one point you can get close enough that you can touch the surface of it and everything. And but we got there and walked around there, and then and there were people mountain climbing it. I'll throw in the picture circled. You're not going to really be able to see, because I could barely see that day. The only reason we realized that someone was up there was because they had something shiny on, and it was reflecting the sun, and we're like, what is that? And all of a sudden we realized, oh my gosh, those are people, and they're like wedged, they've got their feet, you know, and their back, and they're like, oh my god, I can't even but anyway, the views were magnificent, and so it's really cool. And if you're into geology and rock formations, it's amazing. Native American culture, they consider it a sacred place. The reason we call it Devil's Tower is because when the first white man explorers met with the Native Americans, they were telling him, they called it the place of the ugly spirit, I think. And so the guy translated it to, oh, devil, which it's not. But, so, and they call it Bear Lodge because there's stories of the reason that it's the very long stride is that there was a giant bear that was chasing the Native Americans and scratched the sides of it trying to get to the top to get to them, which I thought was very cool. So anyway, Devil's Tower, highly recommend. National Park. We strongly support all our national parks. We've been to try to see quite a few of them. Left there about 11:30 or so in the morning. Got to Yellowstone's East Gate about 5:36. And then to drive from the East Gate to the Old Faithful area where we were staying, because we actually splurged to stay inside Yellowstone. And it's like 2 hours to drive. It's not that many miles, but you have to drive slow because it's a natural park. There's animals everywhere. We were coming around a curve. Someone was flashing their lights, so we slowed way down, and here at a buffalo on the side of the road. And I sent the picture to my daughter, and she's like, oh my gosh, I heard a buffalo. I'm like, 5 does not a herd make, but yes, there were buffalo. So we both saw, on the way in, we saw buffalo that night. There were elk crossing the road, like right in front of us. And it was getting dark at that point, and that scared my husband because he was getting tired. And when we were unpacking our car, right in front of the hotel, all of a sudden I look back and here's this little Mr. Fox, just runs across. He didn't care that we were there. He was on his way. That's all. But we spent not 2 full days there, but if you don't know, most people have heard of Old Faithful. The geyser, it is not as reliable as you think it is. And it is only one of many. And when I say many, I mean, I don't even know what the exact number of geysers. Just in the Old Faithful area, we took 2 walks, one on Wednesday and one on Thursday before we left. And it was a 3-mile loop each time. And I took tons of pictures of geysers, and I'll put some at the end of this. I'm not going to put them here. But it's incredible how many there are. And that's just in the Old Faithful area. You get in your car and you drive to other parts, and there's, 20 here and 15 there, and, there's even more. I don't, like I said, I don't know how many exactly there are. They're interesting because they're all different, and they do different things. And they're different colors depending upon the minerals and depending upon how hot they are. The colder they are, the bluer they are. The hotter they are, the redder they are. There was one geyser that was always kind of spurting, and it was pretty close to the boardwalks where we were walking, and I was kind of like, and my husband's laughing at me because I'm kind of scritching down because I wasn't sure, because they talk about how boiling hot the water is from the geysers. But by the time that little bit of a spray and spurt got to you, it was okay. It wasn't hot anymore. It was just kind of cold. But, you can't walk on the ground near them because it's all hot. And some of the formations that they have, there's one called the Grotto Geyser, and I'll try to put that picture in here. It's really cool. They think that this one is one of the oldest in the park, and they think that originally this geyser sprung up in the middle of a copse of trees, and like the center of this one is a tree trunk that's been covered with so many minerals it's now, stone petrified. So it's really interesting. If you like geology, that's the thing. My husband wanted animals. Our understanding is a lot of the animals, because of the time of year it is, they've kind of moved south into Grand Teton. So we didn't get to see as many. Wolf pack numbers are way down. There's 95 is what the current count was, which is kind of sad. They had said that they had been going up into the hundreds. So I'm not sure what happened, that they're back down again. We did see a herd of bison twice. One night was far away, and then on our way out of the park, thankfully to make my husband happy, right there by the road. So we were able to take a picture, and he was able to see them up close. And there was one guy that was just right up the road. He was kind of like the lone buffalo. I don't know why he was by himself, but we'd see him here, there, and everywhere in the park, or in our area of where we're staying. And we did see a herd of elk as well in the field. We had gone on Wednesday, we drove up to a different section of the park, and there's like a canyon area. And originally, a lot of Yellowstone was carved out by glaciers. So the land formations are just amazing. And they call this one area the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. And we've been to the Grand Canyon, so it's not quite the same. But this stretch of road that you drive on, there's a lot of stops, overlooks. So you can walk right up to the edge and look, and a lot of amazing formation. So it was very cool to visit and see. We did not see all of it. I forget how many acres Yellowstone is, and like I said, you cannot drive fast through there. So, a 16-mile stretch might take you 30 to 40 minutes. So, but when we left on Thursday, and we drove to Idaho Falls. So we drove out into Montana. That the West Gate is partly before the West Gate even happens. That section of Yellowstone is in Montana, which is another state I had never been to. So I crossed off 3 states this trip, and now there are only 2 states of the 50. I have been to 48 states, which is really cool. I haven't been to North Dakota yet. And ironically, I have not been to Rhode Island. If I've been to Rhode Island, I was a very, very small child, and my parents are not around for me to ask if we ever went to Rhode Island. So I only have 2 more states. I've been to 48 of 50. So we stopped in Montana, West Yellowstone, Montana, and did a little shopping there right outside the gates of Yellowstone. Got some chocolate, which was really good chocolate. And if you would hold on one second, my husband is calling me now. And I'm back again. Hopefully that's the last break I'll have to have. So we left Montana, went into Idaho. We stayed overnight in Idaho Falls. Very nice town. We had the best steak meal. Food at Yellowstone was okay. It was very expensive, and it was okay. And that's all I'll say. The snow lodge that we stayed in was very, very nice, but the food was kind of so we had fabulous steak. I believe the restaurant was called Stockman's. I would have to look it up. But anyway, it was very good. If you go to Idaho Falls, look for it. The next morning we had breakfast because our hotel didn't do like a breakfast. They had a basket that you could get, and my husband decided he didn't like that idea. So they gave him, and this was an option with the hotel, they gave him a $10 voucher to a local place. I think you know, my brain, I can't remember what it's called now. I'll put the name down if I can figure it out. Which was very good. Breakfast we had. It was like, I got a, they called it a German pancake at Pancake House here in Cincinnati. It's called a Dutch baby. It's lots of eggs and it kind of rises like a souffle, and then when it finishes baking and you take it out of the oven, it makes kind of like a cratered, and you put butter and powdered sugar and lemon and make like a glaze, and oh, so good, so good. So then we headed to Salt Lake City. So on the way south to Salt Lake City was Shepherd's Bush. And they package it up. They tie it with a little ribbon. And I probably should have looked at the ribbon while I had my glasses on so I could untie it. Amazing place. So many models. So many models. It was just a lot of fun to look through. The ladies were so nice. And, you know, of course they asked us, oh, are you here for the Stitch Retreat? And yes, definitely I am. So I got 2 kits and a chart from Shepherd's Bush that are our Shepherd's Bush patterns. I got Thankful Heart, and that's what it will look like. And the center is a turkey button, so I will have to look for that. I did not get that while I was there. And then I got the kit. I got this bag from the Acorns and Threads retreat, but I decided to wait and get the pattern from Shepherd's Bush because it is a Shepherd's Bush pattern, and there's all the floss that goes with it. So that'll be something I'll start in the near future. And then I found, this is by Pine Mountain Designs, and it's called The Best Things, and it says the best things in life aren't things. And it comes with, this is actually a pre-made pillow. They call it a pillow slipcover. So it comes with the floss and the ribbon, and this is all pre-made. Let me show you. See, it's all put together, and it's Ada. So that'll be a fun kit. I'm not sure when I'll start it, but I will. So that's what I got at Shepherd's Bush. Lots of beautiful fabric, floss. It was fun. It was fun to go look there. So then, finished heading down Salt Lake City. I was able to get into my hotel room early. If you have the Marriott app, that Marriott is doing it right. That's all I can say. Because for Acorns and Threads too, I was able to check in the day before. And I was able to do that. Let's see, did I check in? I checked in the day before this time too. For the Acorns and Threads retreat in Oregon, it was at an Embassy Suites, which is part of Marriott. I was actually able to pick my room where I wanted my room to be. I wasn't able to do that this time on the app, but I said that we were going to be there by 12:30, and when we got there at 11:30, it said my room was ready. And my key was on my phone. So, you know, you just put your phone up to the door and it unlocks it. And it's like, how nice was that? Which was perfect because my husband was getting antsy because he was driving back to Idaho for a Kings of War tournament, which is miniatures. If you watched my video when my son Ben was on, he has the miniatures. And basically, if you don't know what it is, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, is role-playing. Kings of War, Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40K, those are all role-playing games, but it's armies. So it's toy soldiers with rules, is what we usually say. So he was going off to do that back in Idaho and left me for the weekend with my friends and a room to myself, which after we'd been traveling for so many days, it was kind of nice to have a little bit of quiet. Not that we were arguing or anything. I think the worst argument we had was when he came back to pick me up and he was tired and I was tired and that was it. But anyway, so retreat was great. The room was the Skylight Ballroom, which was very nice during the day, but when it got dark, you know, it's that mood lighting thing that they do for weddings, and that doesn't really work for cross-stitching. So next year, they've already confirmed they're going to have a downstairs ballroom that has great lighting. So I got my table set up. It was fun because people came and found me to buy my bags. I could actually cross, because that was a big worry I had, that I wouldn't be able to stitch, that I would be the whole time, you know, at my table selling. So I had a good time stitching, talking with people, met a lot of new people. One of the stories I was going to tell you that I mentioned earlier, lady comes over and I look up and, you know, the chair's empty and she had been talking to the person next that was on the other side of the chair, and she looks at me, she says, "Oh, Lynn." I'm like, and her name was Chris, and I'm like, okay. And she said, "I've bought bags from you." I said, "Oh, okay, thank you," you know, and then I saw her name tag at the bottom, it said Lit Stitcher. I'm like, oh yes, I know who you are. So if I ever look like I don't know who you are, I might not know who you are, but I might know your Instagram handle, and that will make, you know, and sometimes I don't even remember that, but then I'll realize, I'll see your stuff come through the feed, and I'm like, oh gosh, they were there and I didn't say anything. So, getting to know people. I had another customer who had contacted me back in July about making some bags for her, and she's like, "When are you gonna?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I lost your message through my feed. I'm so sorry." So I've got to get busy on her bags too. And it was great meeting her. She ended up at the table behind me. She had a fabulous table. They were just having the best time. And our table was too. I mean, it wasn't that, you know, we weren't or anything. But it's just fun to listen to some of the tables around you and some of the conversations and just sometimes the laughing. At my table, Rocio from Kokahama Stitchery was at my table, and by Saturday night she was very tired and very giggly, as was Jordan, the tattooed stitcher. And the two of them, oh my gosh, it was hysterical. They were so funny. But so stitching, I did. You know that I was working on, and I did not pull it out of the bag, which I should have. You know I was working on PuntiniPuntini. I will not buy craft supplies this month, and other lies that I tell myself. And if I can find the picture of where it was, I will put it there. And where's it? Oh, there it is. And I had to finish. And I rang the bell.
Ring it, ring it, ring it, ring it loud. Multiple times.
Woo! my colors. This is 28 count tin roof natural. Some of the colors are the original colors, and some, the blue and the pink, the gold, the silver, the red are ones that I picked out. Some of it was very prim, and it doesn't look like it on the pattern, but when you pick out the actual colors, it gets very prim. So I wanted some colors that were a little more me, and I tagged Paola Puntini on here on my Instagram when I posted my finish, and she liked the colors. So as long as the designer likes them, I'm happy. Well, actually, it's me, but I'm happy when the designer doesn't mind that I change things. So that's been my main stitching. Actually, even before I left, I was working on that some. I have my caterpillar cross stitch. I did not get back to it. The third part came out on the 10th, and I never put one stitch in it for part 3. Part 4 just came out yesterday, has some more cute things in it. So tonight, tomorrow, I will begin part 3 and get going on that. But I did have a new start, because of course at a retreat you need to have a new start. And I met I had this with me to work on and never got to, but I met Wendy from the Heart Needle Art. She was there as a vendor, so that was pretty cool getting to meet her. The pattern. So we had 2 designers at Stitch West. One was Jordan, a little stitch girl, and the pattern that she gave us was called A Stitcher's Life is the Life for Me. And I got her to sign my pattern, and I wanted it to be my start for the weekend, so I actually did a conversion of Almond M&M's was there selling, and I converted the colors into her silks. And when I went to start, you know, her little nuggets, you need to do something with them. So Jordan and her family had done Basic Bunch, because Jordan, her mom, her grandma, and her sister, I believe, were all there, and they were giving out these floss drops. So this is one of the colors that I changed it to. It's something sapphire, sassy sapphire. And this is the start I made. So I've got the and me, and I'll be able to, from the me, I can do some of the flowers. So if I want to do some of the flowers instead of just the words. And what's really fun about this pattern, the way Jordan designed it, is this leaf is, and you can't really see it in here, but this leaf isn't, the second leg isn't crossed. So it's as if, you know, you're leaving that to go do something else. And Chris is here because he's decided it's time for dinner. And I left him. So we don't need kitty butt. All right, sit down. So that was my new start at the retreat. But as I said, we had 2 designers at the retreat. The other was Teresa Kogut. She gave us a bag. And you know, when it's a bag, it's a good thing. So, let's see. So the first in the bag, we have the fabric, and it's kind of a gray blue. It's a 32 count. Then we have the Floss, and she had given us raffle tickets. Of course, I didn't win anything. Of course, you know, let's see what I had, number 880, and it was 881 that was called. So, you know, that's okay. I mean, we got enough gifts. It was okay. I didn't win anything. She also gave us, all the cats are coming to see me because it's Chris's dinner time. We had floss drops, and it's got a compass, and then a piece of the pattern. Let me show it there. And let's see, how am I going to show this? There's 3 patterns. I don't have a picture of the small one. It was kind of a bonus one. But, so there's the needle minder. Mermaid. We have a card from Teresa Kogut with all her information. And if you know her, this is her new logo. And then for when we finish the big one, we've got to put on the back. And then just a big sticker. And there's a 3rd sticker that I dropped on the floor. That's, get another Teresa Kogut sticker. And then we've got, this one is called Under the Sea. And that's the small pattern. And in this pattern, there's a bonus one that's just a mermaid, and that's probably the one I'll do first, is the smallest one first. And then the main pattern was called Seaworthy Sampler. And it's 200 by 113, and she was talking about it and describing it and said, you know, well, she was thinking Snug Harbor Crafts, so the sea, so of course it had to have a lighthouse, and Pam and Steph from Just Keep Stitching were at the table next to me, and I looked over and Pam started wigging out. And Teresa says, and there's a sailboat, and there's whales, and Pam is literally, and I have a picture of her, she was crying by the time Teresa finished describing and then showed the pattern. And if you know Pam from Just Keep Stitching, you know this is just her pattern. So of course she started it that night, and it is so pretty. So this was done on 40 count, and I got a piece of 40 count that I'll show you in a minute, and I'll tell you about where I got it from. But I'm gonna do the 2 smaller ones on the fabric, the 32 count that she gave us. So Teresa knocked it out of the park, as did Jordan. We were feeling very, very loved and appreciated as stitchers at that retreat. So I picked up 2 things from the giveaway table. 2 issues of Crossstitch Crazy. This is a British magazine. It folded during COVID, which broke my heart because I have almost every issue that they printed. I picked up these 2 because I think these 2 I'm missing. There were different times when I couldn't get them at Barnes & Noble. I missed them the month that they came out, or when I had this subscription, when it came to me, they were lost in the mail, and they were blah, 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 blah. So I picked up these 2 because I think I'm missing those 2 issues. But I have them all. Also, in the vendor room, so I showed you I bought silks from Ymir. there was Red Thicket, who is a fabric designer. I had not heard of her before. I saw this beautiful piece of fabric and decided I had to get it. It's called Quarry. And look at that. It's linen. So pretty. I'm not sure that the cameras are really doing it justice. There, that's more the color. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And it's purple, not blue. But it's got little tinges of blue in it. Not sure what I'm going to put on that yet, but... And then Abby Top Knot Stitcher was also a vendor, and she had the pack of Cottage Garden threads. If you, during Expo back in August, a bunch of designers got together and made patterns. I believe they told me there's like 25 patterns that use these 4 Cottage Garden threads. And it comes with a little card, and on the back of this card there is a QRC code that will take me to all the patterns. And Ryan from Wild Crossstitch was there, and her pattern is pretty amazing. Blue Flower had a freebie using this pack. And then Ingleside Imaginarium, you know I love them. Look at the moth dragon. Isn't that beautiful? So, Autumn Garden Visitor. And speaking of visitors, hello Ramses. Yet another cat has come to see me because they know it's Christmas dinner time and I'm not downstairs. Anyway, so that was all that I bought in the vendor room. Yes, Gizmo. I got some treats from other people. I gave out needle minders, but I also did some paper clips this time. And because I've been to so many retreats, this is my 3rd retreat that I was giving out stuff at. 4th retreat. 4th retreat. Wow. I've had 5 retreats this year, 4 since June. But anyway, so I did some paper clips that were cute, but I gave them all away, so I can't show you what they look like. But I got Race Laid, got a needle minder. Just love, so cute at Hedgehog, and then put for the Stitch West. Put that button. Oh, and Deb and Kef made up little snacky bags for us. Tied them with the anchor ribbon. I did not eat all my snacks. I was good. Jan Hicks Creates was also there. She was a vendor selling her patterns, and she gave everybody some Mrs. Seda silks. This one's called Popcorn. Isn't that pretty? Stitching with the Sisterlies were there. I got to meet them in person for the first time at Acorns and Threads. Cheryl was giving out this cute needle minder. It's wooden with the needle. And then, Colleen did these books. Oh my gosh. It's a needle book. This is Teresa Kogut fabric. If you've never seen some of Teresa's fabric, I miss getting it at my needlework store, my quilt store. Could kick myself, but cute little needle book. And it's got a card with the sisters. So, and then that's more Teresa Kogut fabric inside. It's so cute. So, thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Colleen. I love them both. And I saw this on Colleen's Instagram. I was like, oh, I hope I get one. And I did. So Debbie from, and I hope I'm saying that right, that it is Debbie, She's Classy Kawaii. She's Glitter Fairy on Instagram. Glitter Dove Fairy on Instagram. And if you watch Athena Stitching Goddess Designs, you know that the challenge is when Athena's been doing her giveaway words. Cat fur flying, sorry. When she's been doing her giveaway words every day, Debbie has been finding those words on her body because she has all kinds of tattoos. So it's become kind of a joke that, you know, does she have the tattoo to match Athena's word? But Debbie gave us waxers, and mine's a tombstone, which is very cute. And then a ring for floss drops, which I'm going to put on my basic bunch because they just tied theirs. They didn't have a ring. And it's got that pretty flower, which perfectly matches the pattern from Jordan, Little Stitch Girl. So thank you, Debbie. That's absolutely perfect. Put it over there so I don't forget. Another lady, and I'm terribly sorry, I'm not sure who it was. She didn't put her information in, but she did waxers and a skein of floss, which was really nice. And then Alma, who's the tattooed reading owl, did, it's a floss drop, but look at this scissor fob. How perfect is that? I just love those blues. Look at that, the Delft blue button. And there was a purple one at our table that was amazing. It was so pretty. And then Renee, the Appalachian Stitcher, she did a paper clip. And what she did was she had an anchor for Snug Harbor Crafts. Oh, I'm not even showing you. An anchor for Snug Harbor Crafts, and then a charm that says 2022, which was really cool. So Appalachian Stitcher, Renee. Thank you, Renee. That was very nice. And then I think, I'm not sure who it was. She'd given everybody, it's a little pin that's got the two little, they're bells, and the charm says 2023. I was not at the table when she dropped this off, so I think the joke was that because it was 2023 we would remember who she was. And I know they pointed her out to me when I got back to the table, and I'm not sure what her name was. So if it was you, please comment and let me know, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So that was all the stuff that people gave me at the retreat. I sat late one Saturday night because my husband was on his way back from Idaho. Saturday night. He stayed over Friday night in Idaho and came back Saturday night. So it was between me and him. Was I gonna finish this before he got there? And I did. Like 5 minutes before he arrived, I finished this, and I rang the bell. So we were having a good time that night. Oh, the fire alarm at the hotel went off. It was crazy. We were sitting there stitching, and all of a sudden we see the lights flashing. The sound in the room was really bad, and it was like a very gentle voice. You know, there is an emergency. Please find the nearest exit. I was like, how is anyone going to hear that? So everyone saw the lights flashing, and everyone kind of quieted down. And a lot of people looked at each other, and it was raining outside. It was pouring rain outside, and we're like, no, we're not going outside. So some people got up and left. The very good rule followers. Usually I am a rule follower, but I have stayed in enough hotels and have had enough alarms go off that I don't always believe that they're really a fire or an emergency. So I waited, and then I thought, well, I probably should get up. And where our room was, there was like an open area. It was a balcony over the lobby, so we could look down to the main desk. So one of the stitchers had gone down and was talking to the front desk, and we're like, what's going on? And they're like, come on down. So they said, and then they had everybody that was standing outside to come in and said, we don't think it's an emergency, but stay here in the lobby so you can go out the door quickly if we discover that it is. So, I don't know if you can hear the cat scratching on the door frame because I'm not feeding the other one. I'm not even feeding any of them. So, and it was really cold. The temperature had changed. When we got to Salt Lake, it was in the 70s. It was like 75. Saturday with the rain, it got down to the 40s. So they ended up getting everybody out of our room because they said the sensor was showing that whatever the issue was, it was in there, in our room. They couldn't find anything. Deb said, well, our needles were on fire, and we set off the smoke detector. So they let us go back up. It went off again. They turned it off. About an hour or so later, it went off again. And Kef looked at everyone and said, don't move. So we didn't. And it went right back off again. So, who knows? One of the fun things about this retreat, too, was Deb and Kef got masseuses to come in and do chair massage. You could pay for a 15-minute massage or a 30-minute massage. And I have a bad back. I've had 2 slip discs I've had surgery for. And when I was packing up the car Friday morning to go to Salt Lake, I was bending over. I wasn't even lifting anything at the moment. I was rearranging snacks in our snack bag, and my back went click, 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 click. And from that moment on, I've been having issues. I'm in pain. I've got stiffness. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of gone into my leg, which worries me because the first time I had a slip disc, it ruptured into the sciatic nerve canal, and I was 25 years old. Who would think that this happens to a 25-year-old? And I was in much better shape than I am in now, and I weighed a whole lot less. But I have nerve damage on the left side of my left foot from having the slip disc and the rupture and them not knowing what it was right away. The second one, because I had already been through it the first time, my doctor looked at me and he said, well, what do you want to do? We can go through all this therapy, or you can just do surgery. I said, let's just do surgery, because I know last time doing anything didn't help. So that was 11 years ago, and he didn't think there were any other discs, because I knew the second disc was going to go. They told me when I was 25 that it would eventually, I would need surgery for it. But what's going on now? I don't know. But it seems to be affecting my right leg, which is not the leg I had trouble with before. So I'm a little nervous that I've done something else. And of course, I know I need to lose weight and get my life under control. So that will be a focus over the next few months. But anyway, so we left Sunday around noon. I let my husband sleep in some, and I stitched some and visited some more with people, and I left at noon. It had snowed in the mountains, and there were some storms, and we were worried, and we weren't even 15 minutes out of Salt Lake, and it started snowing. But the roads were clear for the most part. Some of the roads weren't even wet, but beautiful, beautiful snow. It was cold. Not really that bad. I mean, cold enough to snow, obviously. So we were going in and out of snow on Sunday, and then yesterday, Monday, we got out of snow and into rain, which, that's tiring. And of course it slowed us down. And you know, the farther you come east, the more traffic you get, the more tractor trailer trucks you get. So we were slowing down and down. And we took a more northerly route, went through Omaha, which we would have, Omaha, Nebraska. And we stopped at Reflections, and I had forgotten that she had announced that she wouldn't be there. That was so sad. We pulled up and I'm like, why is the store not open? And there was a sign on the store that she had gone to retreat and she wouldn't be open till Tuesday. I was like, man. So I have a picture of the outside of Reflections, but didn't get to go in. So sad. So, Julie McConnell, someday I'll get to go to your store. So we continued on east, and right at the border of Iowa and Illinois is Moline, Illinois, where Brandy of Stitch Me opened up her store. So she has a storefront now. She's just not only selling online, and on Facebook. She has a brick and mortar. And I'll tell you, oh my gosh, not to buy everything was very difficult. I bought a piece of 28 count paranormal linen. I looked at it in even weave and the linen was too pretty. So I bought the linen. And this is 40 count morning fog. And this is what I'm going to do, the large sampler that Teresa Kogut gave us, because she did hers on 40 count. Her model stitcher did it on the 40 count, and I think that will be perfect. A bunch of us had said we wanted to do it on the 40 count, not just on the 32. So I'll do the smaller mermaid and the smaller sampler on the 32 that she gave us, and the big one on the 40. I found this beautiful silk. Isn't it pretty? This is called Nexus. So pretty. And actually looks quite stunning on that, doesn't it? And then I found a couple of patterns. This is a designer I think I've heard of. The pattern is called Sewing Bees. Sewing Bees, B-E-E-S. It's by Scissortail Designs. So it was, so it is, so it will be. So I'll probably stitch that up for in here in my craft room. And it comes with the little buttons. Very cute. It's Classic Colorworks and Week Dye Works, and there's a DMC conversion. They did it on 32 count, and it's only 75 by 72, so that's not a huge stitch. Brandy, if you follow Brandy on Facebook, you know she does a lot of Mirabilias, Nora Korobits, Bella Filipina. Those are things that Ashley loves. So I was FaceTiming with Ashley while I was there, and she asked me to pick this up for her. I don't know when she'll start it, but I may not give that to her till Christmas. And then Brandy had all the Ink Circle dragons, the elemental dragons. So I picked up, that's Fire by Ink Circles, Water, Air, and then Earth. And I have some variegated flosses that I've already decided that I want to use for those. And then I'll pick out fabric. I have fabric too. And then, as I'm checking out, she's like, here are some samples. So these do not have names. But that's like a periwinkle. That's pretty close to the color. And then this beautiful green. And, oh, she gave me two of the same. So, two of the same. So, that was fun. I've known Brandy for a couple of years during COVID when Samber Stitches got us together on Zoom. I met Brandy through Zoom. I have been a customer of hers pretty much since she started doing Fabric of the Month. I've bought many pieces from Friday Night Fight Nights. I try to avoid them because I always buy something and I don't need it. So getting to meet her in person and see her amazing store, and I've got a video that I'll put in at the end of just kind of going around a 360 of the store. The floss, the whole wall of floss, and then she's got some fabrics that are hanging on hangers and then others that are just in bins, because you can't have everything out. You can try as best you can, and she had fabrics in a couple of different spots, and then the patterns. And so if you're in the Moline area, Davenport, Iowa, go visit Be Stitch Me. Go stitch. Form a stitching group there, because she needs the company. She started dyeing there first, and now she's got the storefront, and you should go visit her. So we stopped there, and then stayed overnight not far from Peoria, Illinois, and then headed the rest of the way home today. So we left Sunday the 16th, got home today the 25th. It's been quite the whirlwind tour. I'm ready to relax a little bit. I'm hoping my grandson is sick again, unfortunately. If you've had a preemie, the first couple of years, and especially with the illnesses that have been going around, the last couple of years, it's rough. So I'm hoping my daughter won't need me tomorrow, mainly because I want him to be healthy. I got to Zoom with him tonight. He was quite the mess. But anyway, so I hope to rest up, stitch, and do some fun sewing before I get going on the December quarterly mystery bag. I'm going to start that November 1st. I will start sending out emails to those that purchased the September quarterly bag. They get first dibs. But I have more bags for December than I have had any other time this year. So if you did not have the September bag, don't worry. Chances are you'll get an option to purchase it, and be waiting, because next video I will share with you someone who is contributing to the bag for December, which I think you'll enjoy. Let's see. Black Needle Society Challenge deck. I'm going to pull a card. Not that I really need one. Stitch on a piece with wings. So if you're not sure what to stitch this week, stitch on a piece with wings, and we'll see if I do too. And that is about all. I know Black Needle Society, they're working on the Nice List box to get that out for Christmas. They are, the planners are finished and will be shipping from the printer. They think that they will not have them for a month, so they will be sending them out in December. So hopefully that will go all will go smoothly, unlike some of the things in the October boxes. They had a couple of issues, so hopefully that will go much smoother. The nice list will go smoother. I'm gonna start, I've been getting invoices or shipping notifications from different Advent boxes that I bought, because in December I will be doing daily videos for Flossmas, opening things that I bought, and I will tell you about each of those when they come. Maybe this week Ashley and I will film an unboxing where I'll unbox her if she lets me unbox her trick box. If you have not seen it, Athena did. Athena curated the box for Black Needle Society, the trick box. The treat box Katie did, and the trick box Athena did. And there are a couple of unboxings out there. And if you didn't get one, I did a bag for it, which was a lot of work. A little more than I think I want to try to do again. But I'm very proud to say that I did it. I got them done, and people seem to be enjoying them, the unboxings that I've seen. So if you got it and you like it, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. And on that note, I'm going to go make my husband some dinner because he's home from rehearsal, and I will edit this, put all the pieces together. I'm thinking it's going to be over an hour, which is not like me, so I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you next week, hopefully on Monday, though it's the 31st, Halloween, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see if I'll do it earlier, if I'll do it on November 1st. Anyway, have a good week. Bye. Thank you.